Hi, welcome back to the program. We're here today talking with Jeannie Benink from ARP, and we're talking about protecting ourselves from scams and protecting our identities. And one of the things that's come up already a couple of times in our conversation is having to do with travel, whether your credit card company asks you whether you've been in Michigan recently, to Jeannie going to France. And so what are, when you're out and about, now whether you're traveling or you're just downtown Milwaukee, say, what sort of information is it kind of safe to carry with you? Because I will hold myself up as an example of someone who carries everything but the kitchen sink in my wallet, all my credit cards, everything.
Sure. According to the Office of Privacy Protection, I always use those as my source because my friend Susan Schills, who's the regulator there, she's a guru. She's been doing this for 25 years. And what they recommend, and I've started doing this, is if you're just going to work, perhaps you have one wallet, or perhaps when you're traveling you have one wallet, and when you're going to do all your shopping and that type of thing, you have another wallet. Because if you're carrying all your credit cards around all the time, you are definitely leaving yourself open to someone more easily getting a hold of everything, as you said, in the kitchen sink. When I go to work now, if it's just an average day, what I keep with me is one credit card, my driver's license, and my cash. And my fishing license. I don't feel too threatened with that. But then if I'm going shopping, let's say if I'm going to the mall or something, then I take my other wallet and I just transfer my driver's license and my credit card into that wallet and put that in my purse so that I'm not keeping everything with me all the time. And especially when you're traveling, we really do recommend that you only take one credit card, your driver's license, some cash, and some traveler's checks, because as I said before, because we don't have the regulation around our debit cards, it's not a terribly safe thing to be traveling with your debit card. In fact, we recently had a case where a gentleman lost over $9,000 because he had his savings account linked to his checking account for overdraft protection, and his debit card was stolen. And they got his PIN with the wallet, and they pulled all of the money out of checking, and then it kept kicking over in $100 increments to protect overdraft. And the crook ended up getting away with over $9,000 of this gentleman's money.
You know, this is so interesting to me, and I feel like I have just learned something huge, which is when I used to travel, before the days of debit cards, I always took traveler's checks, because I knew it was better to take traveler's checks than just cash. But I have to confess, I never ever thought about that. Now I usually don't take traveler's checks with me. I usually just take the debit card. But so definitely traveler's checks very much have their place.
They do, and I know there are some places that don't like to accept them, but almost everywhere I've traveled, I'm able to find some place where I can cash my traveler's checks when I'm there. It's just another level of security for yourself when you're traveling abroad.
Yeah. Okay. And how about even protecting the documents in your home? As far as, do you keep everything in one place or in a little safe box? Or and I don't mean you, but where should one?
The main thing to consider is who's coming into your house and where are your bills. Because I used to be one of those people where I had a little kind of metal cage thing that hung on the wall, and as the bills came in, I would just put them in there. And then at the end of every week, I would pull them out and I would pay them. And then I started thinking about, we're in such a technology-driven age now. I took my credit card statement and I opened it, because that's what I usually do. I open it, I look at it, scan it, I tri-fold it back, and I put it in that little box. And so there's a bay window in our kitchen that's not that far, probably 4 feet away from this little box. And I went outside with my BlackBerry, which takes photos, and you can zoom in and zoom out. So I zoomed all the way in through the plate glass window, and I took a picture, and you could read every number of my credit card. So it is very important. Now I have a drawer, and everything is put away because it happens so quickly. If you don't know who's coming into your home. I mean, we all like to believe that the guy who's coming to fix the washer, or the gal that's coming over to work on the dishwasher, that all of these people are reputable and above board. But sadly, that's not always the case. And with a cell phone, it's so easy for someone just to walk by. If you have a bill laying out, and snap a photo and email that when they're out of your eyesight, And before you know it, someone is running reckless and wild with your credit.
Again, something that I never thought about.
The other thing is your mailbox. And honestly, about 90% of all ID theft has an element of mail fraud, which is good because that makes it a federal offense. So if we catch the person, it carries a much stronger penalty. But a lot of people, they don't realize it, but a lot of people are watching our mailboxes. And if they are able to access, a lot of people still get credit card offers in the mail. I don't know if you still get those. Mm-hmm. Okay, that can all be stopped. All you have to do is register on the national Optout, and it takes you out of all the direct marketing. And all of a sudden, that mail will stop. But between the time that they receive your Optout and 120 days later, I believe is the time frame, they legally have to get you off all direct marketing. So all of those credit cards that are in business at that time have to stop marketing to you. And when I did that, literally, I couldn't even tell you the last time I got a credit card offer, quite frankly. And it's very simple.
When someone gets a credit card offer like that in the mail, if I get a credit card offer and I just be like, oh, I throw it on the sidewalk because I don't want it, and someone else comes along and picks it up, I mean, it would be then possible or even easy for them to apply for?
We did a little study where we took, just with a standard spaghetti shredder, so that's the kind that shreds in the long strips. We took a credit card offer, we ran it through the spaghetti shredder, we taped it back together, we filled it out and sent it in, and they sent us a credit card.
Wow.
So we are strong proponents of, you should have a shredder in your house, and everything that has any type of sensitive information on it needs to be run through a confetti shredder, which is the kind that takes it down to like little squares and little diamonds. They can't be put back together because it's going to probably get tighter now that things are getting a little harder for the credit card companies to actually make their money. So things are probably you're going to see things tighten up a little bit. But for a long time, there were some very unscrupulous things happening, and oftentimes what would happen, someone would take the credit card offer out of your mailbox and then have your mail forwarded to wherever they were going to be. And so that's kind of a tip. If all of a sudden the mail that you should be getting is no longer coming to your mailbox, or if you get one of those little notices from the post office, because the post office, they used to just send it to your new address. If you were moving, they would send you to your new address saying, yes, we've got your forwarding going on now. But now they send it to the old address and to the new address. So if you get one of those and you're not moving, that's a pretty good indicator that someone has been tampering in your mailbox, and they may be trying to tamper with your credit as well.
Wow. And these confetti shredders, without going into brand names or locations, there's something that a person could purchase. They're easy to find, easy to get, not prohibitively expensive.
Not at all.
Well worth the cost, it sounds like.
Absolutely, absolutely, because there are dumpster divers. We hear about this all the time where people, I mean, if you think about it, a lot of it, I shouldn't say a lot of it, some of it is actually happening in a prison system because people are stealing the shredded documents, and then the shredded documents are actually by the prisoners getting sorted out. And they have some time, so they have time to put this stuff back together, and then they start selling your identity, and there's money to be made in that. People are selling your ID all the time. And you also, talking about the mailboxes, you should never be putting your bills in your mailbox at home and putting that red flag up. I know a lot of people, especially in rural communities, it's probably not as prevalent here in Milwaukee, but in rural communities, it's sometimes a bit of a barrier to try to find one of those big blue mailboxes, or to drive into the nearest town and actually take your mail to the post office. But, you know, in today's day and age, if you put that red flag up, you're basically telling everybody in the community, I probably have some bills in here. You should probably stop by and see what I've got. And a lot of people are having their identity stolen that way.
Again, Jeannie, something that I never thought about, and I can see some habits of my own that will be changing.
You know,
really will be changing.
Good.
Oh, yes, good.